Good morning, YouTube and Facebook. I'm back in the shop, back at home. It's Sunday here. Excited to be home. I'm going to take care of some home projects today. And I'm going to do a little reflection here on just the last couple days. I've been down in western Iowa, southwestern Iowa, training a dealership there on some Dino Training, one of my favorite things. And I just got some great reflections coming back from that training. As I've started this consulting business this summer here, to where I will go in and train you individually, whether you're a person or a dealership or whatnot. It's really been different to look outside traditional education, and it's fun. It's super fascinating to walk into a dealership where these are seasoned individuals. The owner is a successful GM technician with a long career there. And then the service manager, graduated motorcycle mechanics 4 years before I even started. So these guys are long-time veterans here, looking to get some specific information on some software on their dyno. And what an interesting turnout it always ends up being. What makes training great is being around people that are willing to ask questions. Sometimes I've been in either class or with somebody, and they either have something or think something, and they're not doing anything. Well, these guys, they're willing to challenge me. They're willing to ask questions. And you know what? Sometimes I didn't have the answer. So here you are, you're the instructor, you're standing there, and you don't have the answer. What do? You look it up. You figure it out. You have to use your resources. If you look through all this material, to think that anybody could memorize any of this, or even to remember all the great things, you've got to be able to be resourceful. And in this case, this dyno hasn't worked right for them for a long time. So when I worked with them, the big thing is to know when to have a stopping point and to go to the manufacturer, the company. So we got a hold of Dynojet and dug in and found out there were some missing files, and it was just never going to work as designed. And how frustrating. You're supposed to have this latest greatest thing, and it just won't do what you want. It'll do some of it but not all of it. I'm a big fan of all of it, just like our toolboxes, using all of our tools, our torque wrenches, our testing equipment. And we got this thing working pretty quick, actually pretty quick in the training, so that was great. The class I was teaching was actually Dyno 101, is what you typically call it. And these guys, they didn't need much of that. Just a few little things on that. So the training really ultimately turned into fuel injection tuning with Autotune. And I had questions I needed answered. I had stuff that I needed help with from Dynojet, where my expertise comes in, is having ran a dyno for over 15 years, knowing what to ask. And you find out that that's just as important as then knowing what to do. So we talked a lot about how to deal with your customers, as far as knowing what their goals are, what their plans are. There's a lot to dyno tuning. There's a lot. If you go in there and do fourth gear, wide open pulls, which I did for a lot of my early years of my career, as many people all over the country do, you find out that you're not using that tool near its capability or its true potential. So, negative testing, that's a big one that people aren't using, myself included. Had to really, teach myself with muscle memory that this is a great test. There's great data that can be used from this. Load testing, sweep testing, do you do auto tune versus manual tuning, and then going in and doing manual tuning the way we've done it for years on the older Power Commanders would get us into trouble on this newer stuff where you're flashing the ECM or on this Power Vision. There's things you got to go in and uncheck. If you go in and just start messing around with boxes, you just make a mess. And the thing that I really liked about working with these two men is that they were willing to hit a pause moment and go, hey, none of us know the answer to this, or we're kind of dancing around it, and we need to get the right information. So we came up with a checklist. Go figure, me and a checklist, right? Of the questions we're going to take back and get some real definite answers. By the end of the first day, we felt we were getting in the right direction. We at least had the dyno working. We were getting through all the 101 stuff, and then on the second day, we got to get into tuning. And we got to rock it. We got to take this bike that's been a real problem bike and be able to get it where it started on its own, idle on its own, pull like a bat out of hell, and impressive little bike too. And then from there, now that you could trust the equipment, it was a deal of really, well, how can we maximize this tool? What does that look like? So all I know is it was very successful. It was really fun. The dealership also let me give them some opinions and work through, some of the marketing side of it, some of the customer service side of it. One of the things I really feel is a good reason to hire me is that I'm not going to come in and do just I'm not your service manual instructor, like remove part A, remove part B, put on new part, and then B and A. I mean, I am what's the package deal, part of being a technician, a successful technician, in my opinion, is the documentation piece. I showed him my work order, my methods behind my work order. How do you bill properly? How do you not miss something on billing? My little tip right now I give you is don't write in a paragraph, write individual line items so that you can maximize billing for that. I mean, just think of every receipt for as far back as you can remember since it's been a printed receipt. They don't put, bananas, apples, bread, and a big paragraph to give you a total. It's individual line items. You don't want to miss out on something. Why is it some of you dealers are still putting a whole bunch of junk on a work order and then going, oh, I didn't get paid for the chain and sprocket service. I forgot it or whatnot. A lot of improductivity or whatnot. So these guys look like they really got it together, and they were already doing some stuff that I had suggested, and then they were willing to take a deeper look at it. Even inventory, where you place your inventory, what's that look like? Do your customers know what you sell and what you do? So it was really quite a bit of all-around training for this dealership. They've been open about, I think it's 9-10 months. It'll tell in the video. I interviewed them as well. Going to showcase them to make sure that you people in that area are going to know them as a tuning center. They're up around the east of Omaha. Isn't there a Bob Dylan or Bob Seger song? Anyway, it's funny. It brings back no memory. But long story short here, think about as you're working on your craft. Think about as you're being a technician. I'm going to give you a couple takeaways from this. You got to be able to ask questions. If you're keeping it in your head, you're not having a conversation with someone, you're not able to pull something out. Matt, the service manager down there, we're kind of really challenging because there's something he's read for years that, he felt this way, and I brought in this information when it related to a dyno that, oh, wait a second, it's going to affect over here too. And it goes against every paper logic that you would go and see and read about. And I'm like, you got to try it, man. It's going to shock you. You got to try it. Watch what this is going to do. And I'm really excited for him to go and do that test and go, wow, that's amazing. So there is a great benefit in remembering that even when you have an instructor in front of you, that they could be wrong. They might have information, to them that they've believed in for a long time and that is incorrect. Like one of the things I was telling the guys that was really interesting, I've got all these notes from actual dyno training at the manufacturer, Dynojet. I've had the fortunate experience 4 different times. Most people, they're lucky if they ever get once in their life to sit and train under, the manufacturer representatives 4 different times, right? And so one thing, Tiger, I've realized is that my notes have changed. Things that they told me were legit, and this is the way you did it in 2008, had changed in 2010, it changed in 2014, and I had a back-to-back, a 14-15 year, and I was getting conflicting data, and what happened is the technology had changed. Tiger, come here, buddy. You're going to knock things over. Come here. All right. You're going to realize that the technology changed, and or the way they thought things were working best weren't best, and they went this direction. So it's another thing that things evolve. If you go in and always just think this is the way it is and it's forever going to be this way, you're going to get into trouble. Materials change, products change, tools change, and guys, when you start to deal with computers and software, holy cow. I mean, they are so ridiculously smart in building this stuff and the options and the flexibility and whatnot. Sometimes you just want to go back to a world of carburetors where you're like, oh, I just want to deal with these 3 circuits and be done and not be dealing with this stuff. But when you figure it out, when you get into it, it's pretty cool. It was a great experience for me too yesterday, spending a ton of time on the Autotune, and what a fascinating tool, fascinating way to tune a motorcycle. So not only using the dyno right, but actually tuning something really quick. I showed the guys how to manual tune, and it's just so much faster. One of the things we even saw in Autotune is how it got us into trouble. It changed stuff that we didn't like. Our manual map was actually better, but when we spent a bunch of time over there, we didn't spend enough time for Autotune to do what it needed to do, because it takes some time to do that. So great. I'm talking so much about the actual training, but you guys learn to ask good questions. Always keep an open mind. Continue to seek out mentors. Anything you read on the internet, anything you ever hear come out of my mouth, don't trust it as a single source. I try to really pride myself in a couple things of giving credit to people that have taught me, or resources where I've gotten this information. I'm just a guy passing on skills, trying to do the best job I can to get that out to you, to help you be successful, to help you accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish. But be smart enough to challenge any of your teachers and ask questions and dig into your craft or dig into your hobby. So with that, I just want to say I'm going to make a video today, this morning here, on my camera setup. Let me show you that real quick. I finally have my whole camera rig all mounted up. This one that'll swing all the way around the room here, so I'll be able to have 360-degree viewing of the shop, plus it'll be live to the TV. I'm going to showcase exactly every piece, how I made it, how you could duplicate this. I cannot wait to duplicate this at the college. I mean, the ease of getting the perfect camera angle is amazing. So that's an upcoming video. I'm also going to do a little piece for the guys at Road Rage Bike Works, showcasing a little bit their training opportunity, and then doing some marketing for them as well, so you guys can go and make it a great day. I got Tiger back here making a mess here, so I'm going to check out. Have an awesome Sunday. Thanks for tuning in.